January 8th, 2018, at 5 p.m., with Cruz, Orozco, and Fikes present. Are there any requests from the public to speak on closed session items prior to the board adjourning into closed session?
None.
We will now adjourn to closed session regarding the following matter, which is described in detail on the printed agenda. Conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation. I now reconvene the special meeting of the Board of Education at 6:05 p.m. with Mr. Cruz, Mr. Na, Mrs. Orozco, and myself present. Before we begin, please silence all electronic devices and note that these proceedings are being recorded. Pat.
The board met in closed session from 5 p.m. to 6:02 regarding conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation. No action was taken that requires public disclosure.
Leading the Pledge of Allegiance tonight is Mr. Stachura. He's right there by the microphone.
I was going to say please stand, but they did, so please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We are now at the action item. Please announce the item.
Item 2A1, Allegiance STEAM Academy Thrive Charter School Petition.
That is to recommend the Board of Education adopt resolution number 2017-2018-34, amending Chino Valley Unified School District Resolution number 207/218-33, conditionally granting the Allegiance STEAM Academy Thrive Charter School Petition and Charter School Memorandum of Understanding between the Chino Valley Unified School District and Allegiance STEAM Academy. Are there any speakers?
We have two speakers.
Speakers will be called in the order the request was received. Please listen for your name and be prepared to approach the podium. Any comments on agenda items will be accepted during consideration of that item. Once the board has commenced deliberations on an issue, speaker cards will not be accepted. The board is very interested in your comments, but please bear in mind that the board typically does not respond to comments during this time on the agenda, as it is reserved specifically for public comments. Individual members may respond during board comments at the end. As Mrs. Blair is absent this evening, I'll explain the light system. Speakers, you have 3 minutes in which to make your comments. Please begin your comments at the green light. The yellow light indicates you have 30 seconds in which to complete your comments. The red light indicates your time is over. And before you begin your comments, please adjust the microphone as necessary so that you can be clearly heard. And audience members, please refrain from making comments while speakers are at the podium.
Speakers, in accordance with Board Bylaw 9323, Bylaws of the Board, Meeting Conduct, limit remarks to 3 minutes total for all remarks, and please limit remarks to new points. The Board would like to remind you that there is an existing Board Policy 1312.1 for anyone who wishes to file a complaint against a district employee. No speaker shall exceed the 3-minute limit. The first speaker is Troy Stevens, followed by Raquel Rawl.
You should know my name by now, Pat. My name is Troy Stevens. Board, thank you for having me here tonight. Superintendent Joseph, staff. First of all, I just want to say thank you for kind of hearing our changes and what we presented to the staff as far as the timeline issues go. And I know we all did this through the holidays and probably rather be doing other things. But I appreciate your dedication, your loyalty to what we're trying to accomplish here. Just to bring up a couple things that that Allegiance wanted to point out, and probably the biggest thing is Allegiance is looking to try to avoid the special meeting after special meeting things that we have to get approved and make changes and do these kinds of things. One is not that I don't love seeing your faces every couple of weeks because that's fun, but it's just simply because of the timeline issues. And the timelines are crucial, and some of those timeline dates are a lot more crucial than others. Hoping that some of those timelines that aren't necessarily, that are getting close and maybe we need more time to achieve those goals, that the board or the staff would take consideration of granting us more time. With that being said, we're looking to hopefully have a single point of contact that maybe the board could appoint, whether that's the superintendent or a designee, that could help us make those timeline adjustments or make them flexible for what we need to achieve in certain aspects. It would save us time to be able to move forward and get things done in a timely fashion, what we're tied to. And also it doesn't tie up as much time for the board, because I know there's a lot of other things that they need to be working on as well. So that's kind of the most critical part of why I'm speaking tonight. I would love, for instance, if there are certain policies that maybe we just aren't getting answers back from maybe some of the policy writers that are writing things, or they need a little bit more time, that we could simply call Mr. Joseph or whoever that designee is and say, you know what, we're a week away from getting this done. It's going to be close. I might need a few more days. Are you okay with that? And for him to simply say yes and not, well, your board needs to have a meeting to approve that, and then we need to have a special board meeting. Now we're a week and a half later, and we lost all that time. And we can all see clearly by this timeline that time is something we don't necessarily have. So with that being said, that's what I'm here kind of asking for, maybe the board to look into something of that nature. I don't really have anything else to bring forward that isn't already in the timeline. I just want to know that we are willing to work, and we do want to work, and we'll continue to work with the staff and hit all of our goals and our timelines, because we want to be successful, and our name is your name. I mean, if ASA is successful, Chino Valley is successful. Thank you.
Raquel Raw. Good evening. Happy New Year. My name is Dr. Raquel Raw. I am faculty at the Graduate School of Education at the University of California, Riverside, and I'm also one of the lead petitioners. And first, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity to bring this school to CVUSD. We are dedicated and excited about the timeline and look forward to bringing Allegiance STEAM Academy to fruition. And I kind of wanted to just echo some of the things that Troy brought up, but I wanted to highlight for the record that we have a few concerns regarding the approval of various policies and procedures, in particular by the board, either prior to the hiring of key stakeholders like the CEO, who can't help shape the anti-bullying policy if he or she is not hired at that time. And so we have a couple of concerns that, similar to those things. In addition, within a short time frame, it will complicate our ability to be able to have the board have a rigorous and thorough review of said policies and procedures. So we are resolved to not have a rubber stamp board or a board oblivious to the intricacies required to guide and support a successful school. And we hope that you will work with us as we pay close attention to detail in this pivotal, burgeoning stage. Thank you.
No more speakers.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Comments, questions, or discussions from board members? I see no lights. Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Mrs. Orozco.
Okay, I'll go first. So, and I'm not speaking for the board, I'm just speaking for myself. I would think that Mr. Joseph would be the one to be the point of contact, and then for whatever, because I think it's important to have a line of communication. And one line of communication, and that Mr. Joseph would keep us informed of whatever and everything.
So
Just a suggestion.
So, Ms. Orozco, are you suggesting that the board, let's say, for instance, the situation they gave where they would say, hey, look, we're due March 15th, it's March 14th, we're going to need to get it in March 16th instead of March 15th, that I would have the wherewithal to say, yes, that's okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
Because
Well-
that's what they were asking.
I mean, if it deals with policies, then, I mean, a policy's a policy.
Yeah.
I mean, we change them all the time, so, and I understand that they have to have them in place so that the school understands how it operates. But let's say, for instance, the policy is dependent on, I don't know, some other input. and they haven't received the input from the third party, then perhaps, you would say, okay, use your judgment.
Well, okay, but
But I think you need to let the board aware of what's going on as well.
okay. But I just want to make sure I have the boundaries that the board want, because I think what they were getting at is the fact that tonight we're here to change some of the timelines and whatever. And I think they're going to, whatever the board approves tonight, they're going to have to go back to their board and get approved. They want to streamline the process of going back and forth, having special board meetings. That's what I heard them saying.
And I
Okay.
understand that.
And so they want to come to me as a point of contact to be able to say, hey, Mr. Joseph, can you give us a little extension on this timeline, for instance, or can you give us a little grace on this? And my question is that what the board would like me to do?
Yes.
Okay.
Within reason. You get it. I don't want you to say, okay, so let's say they say, well, a timeline that we can't meet is one of the biggest one, the CEO, and we'd like to move it to May 1st. That one I'm not real comfortable moving to May 1st. And so that's why I say use your judgment as far as, whether policy or
And my concern is, there are several timelines. I wouldn't care if they were a day or 2 days, but when you start moving them by a week, then isn't that what we're doing tonight? We're moving them to certain months, and then those need to be the timelines.
And not only that, but many of the things are tied to another piece. And so that's where it becomes difficult. So I think it's important for us to stick with what we have and work at that. There are some concerns that I have that are in here, and some clarifications that I am requesting. And so, without having to delay this, there's a motion that I would like to make to address that. And what I would like to do is to make the motion to strike all language in the amended resolution and in the amended MOU that provides that no further changes will be made. With this change, we'll approve the amended resolution and the amended MOU as presented.
Second that motion as amended.
So does that make
Is
sense?
there any discussion?
Does that make sense, Board? That doesn't close the door to
Changes?
changes.
Yeah, I have a comment.
Yes, Mr. No.
This is going to be a first year. It's going to be an exciting year. But I remember when I was taken to a swimming lesson for the first time. Yes, there were other kids who would just jump in, but I wasn't able to do that. Sometimes it takes baby steps. Sometimes you take more assistance than others. And my personal vision is to see the best charter school in the whole state. So let us work together. But it takes both ways. As Troy said, we work hard. Yes, we do. Sometimes the meetings had been lasting till 2 or 3 in the morning, years ago. But it takes your dedication, your input, your priorities. And so when we see that, of course, we need to work together because we have the same goal. Your kids is our kids. So let's work together and make this one happen. Thank you.
Did you want to say something?
Well, I just wanted to make sure people were understanding exactly what the motion was that Mrs. Orozco talked about, because it ties in directly with Mr. Stevens' request. Mrs. Orozco's motion had to do with removing that part in the resolution that said there will be no more changes. And so, as a result of removing that from the resolution, then it's much easier for Mr. Stevens to contact me to be able to get the kind of grace he may need. Is that correct, Ms. Orozco?
Yes.
Yes.
So now,
What page is that?
Mrs. Kaler,
What page is that on?
what page is what on?
the removal of the language that's to be struck and inserted with the new language.
It is on several pages, according. It's on several
So
pages.
the motion is to delete the old language and insert new.
Yes.
Yes. To
So-
strike out all the language that says that no further changes will be made.
And insert what you.
We're not inserting anything, we're just saying that
Oh,
we're
just
we're
delete.
taking that out.
Thank you. Okay.
So at this point, do we need to vote on the amendment
Yes.
first?
Yes.
And then we vote on the motion?
Yes.
So are there any more, is there any more discussion?
Nope.
Seeing no more lights, the roll call vote will be taken in alphabetical order with the president last. If you're in favor of Resolution 2017/2018-34, please respond by saying yes. If you are opposed to the resolution, answer the
amendment.
amendment,
Amendment.
answer by saying no.
So right now, just to clarify, we're just simply voting on the amendment,
Right.
what
The-
I suggested.
The effect of the motion, majority vote of yes
Not yet.
approves the amendment.
Amended.
Correct. Got it. So, Mr. Cruz,
Yes.
Mr. Na,
Aye.
Mrs. Orozco.
Yes.
Mrs. Fikes, yes. The amendment passes with a vote of 4-0. Now back to the initial motion. I don't have to read that again about the roll call vote? Okay, so is there any additional discussion on the original motion? Seeing none, then we will vote in alphabetical order. Mr. Cruz,
Yes.
Mr. Na,
Aye.
Mrs.
Rainbow.
Oroz-
Yes.
Mrs. Fikes, yes. The motion passes with a vote of 4-0. And that concludes the special meeting business. I now adjourn the meeting of the Board of Education at 6:21 PM.
So, you know, I think they will help us with the